Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Traci.
Hey, it's Pasquale.
Today we're going to talk about coping skills versus self-care.
I am so excited about this topic
Why is that?
because I actually will tell you that in my mind, I don't think I ever really separated them.
Right.
In my mind, I kind of always put them together, even though they're really different.
Yeah, people will usually think that they're one and the same, and they're really not. And it's very important that we understand the difference because both are very important in our life. So we'll just go through the difference.
But what is a coping skill?
So coping skills are, things, it's really activities used for symptom management. So it's something that we use in the moment when we are experiencing some sort of difficulty, stress, emotion, and we want to use that coping skill to bring ourselves back to a stable level ground, right?
Okay.
So the activities themselves can be the same, right? So we could use, let's say, common coping skills, meditation, exercise,
Reading a book?
listening to music, taking a shower or bath, getting a massage, hanging out with friends. Like, it could be, those things could apply to being a coping skill and self-care, but they're being used at different times for different reasons.
Got it. So then what is self-care?
So self-care would be more the, like you're interviewing
It's
me.
the Barbara Walters in me. She's out.
So self-care would be more of the long-term maintenance, and working on prevention. So it's the things we do on a regular basis just to keep ourselves from elevating too much or becoming too stressed or highly emotional. And so that's like laying the foundation of our well-being, right? And then when we do spike emotionally or stress-wise, that's when we want to incorporate a coping skill to help us get back down to that level.
So can I use a layman's term example?
Sure.
I used this before. So if I had a back pain, I would get a massage, and that would be a coping skill.
Right, because you're managing the symptom.
The moment.
Yeah.
Whereas I get a monthly massage is a self-care.
Exactly. Perfect example.
It relates to me. I get it.
And both make a huge difference.
Totally.
So I also want to focus on coping skills too, because it's very important that the coping skill, the activity that we choose as a coping skill, should reflect the intensity of what we're feeling. So for example, if we're feeling heightened emotionally, stressed, anxious, angry, anything like that carries like a higher level of energy within us, we don't want to choose a coping skill like reading, taking a bath, meditating. We don't want to do that. And if we do end up, because that's so calming and relaxing, and those are on completely two different scales, right? And so that mismatch of energy, if you will just actually create that cognitive dissonance within us. That's a big word for the day.
Cognitive dissonance. Look it up. I will.
I don't even know where that one came from. But it can actually amplify us, and we will just get even more pissed off.
So like in like a spiritual sense, like in a spiritual life, we would do the same thing. And it's just about managing your vibration, right? So like if you're in a high vibe moment, you don't want to do a low vibe thing. You want to do a high vibe thing to get that energy to move.
Yeah.
So like an example, like in what you're saying is like if you're angry with someone, don't go meditate about the anger. Actually go out and take a run.
You have to release it.
Take a walk, or go play with your dog, or shoot basketballs.
Right.
But something to move that energy out. We need to move energy.
Right. And I even explain to people who aren't necessarily spiritual, that I say, think of emotions as energy, which they are energy. But let's say if that's, if they're not there and that's not important for them to learn. So I think of emotions like energy, right? We carry, and we know when we're heightened emotionally, we're like almost like shaking, like we're trembling. You can feel that energy. Well, that energy has to move somewhere or it's going to be blocked within us. And so we have to get that out. So we do want to do like a more active coping skill that can help us release that energy. And that can be running, walking, any sort of physical activity is awesome. Even like sometimes I would just like pace in my room or like jumping jacks in place, or the best one if you're really angry, we can release that stress in no time. God. What do you think I'm going to say?
Throwing something at me?
Read my mind. No. Oh, yeah.
Throwing glasses at people.
Oh my God. I used to break things when I was a kid.
You did?
I did. I would go out on my big wheel. I'd take like one of my mom's little like tchotchkes. Tchotchkes, that's another new word for the day. Like a glass. She had crap everywhere all over the house and it drove me crazy. So I would take one of the little glass things and just throw it on the road.
And there is a professional way to deal with coping.
And the psychologist was born.
Oh my God. My parents were very lucky in that sense.
It really helped. Oh yeah. But, okay. So what I was going to say though is holding a plank position. And
really?
And you just vent it out while you're holding it there and your body's just shaking and you start getting like even more and more angry as you're doing it. And I'm like just talking to myself, like verbalizing out loud, like whatever problem I'm going through. And then you just get to a point where you surrender to it and you just collapse. And when you collapse on the floor, all of it just releases. Actually, just doing that right now, I just felt a release.
Really?
Yeah.
I felt it come in me. We'll talk about that self-care after. No, but I think planks are a good one. I never thought of that.
Do you need a cigarette? Maybe I need one. I'm sorry. That was really funny.
Oh,
okay.
I just love you. But a plank is a really good one because I remember I was recently had taken a class that I didn't want to take that was like a gym class. Mm-hmm. And this person like yells at you to like go faster, go higher, go harder. And at the end, this trainer was like, oh, and I am X years old and I can do a plank for 3 minutes. So my challenge is that all of you are gonna do it. And I was angry. Because I was like, man, we just did.
You got the bass in the voice.
Right? That's how I was. I was like, what? Because I'm done. But by the time I did it, I didn't last the 3 minutes. I'm not gonna lie, but I did it. By the time I was done, I was actually laughing.
Yeah.
And so it does
really
work.
Does release it.
I'm gonna try that. People are gonna start seeing me drop it and playing. And I'm gonna be like, hey, I'm good.
So funny. And you know what a really easy one is too is just stepping outside, because when we're heightened emotionally, our body starts to close up, right? Our muscles, physiologically, our muscles start to contract, our breathing becomes labored, and we can feel a little bit claustrophobic.
Okay.
And so even just walking outside, even if you're not even necessarily, that's the coping skill, walking outside, because it just opens us up. And you'll find that just walking outside, we automatically, instinctively just go, and we take a breath, right? And all of a sudden we can even open our arms up. And then even to build on that, if you could do some conscious, deep breaths and some stretching to open that out. And what you're doing is you're counteracting what your body is physiologically going through.
Because remember, air moves energy.
Yeah.
So that's a big one. Mm-hmm. So with that, then, would you say that people should probably try the coping skill that fits them?
Yes.
Because I know that for me, you won't see me run. I don't run.
Unless it's to a donut shop.
Maybe to a donut shop. No, I don't even run then. I walk gracefully everywhere I go. But I would probably walk or take a bike ride. So I don't run. It's not for me. That's a story for another day.
I always tell people, have a whole arsenal of coping skills, because even something that does normally work for you may not work for you in the moment. And we have to be able to pull what will work in the moment.
Yeah.
And if one thing doesn't work, we have to have something else that we go to.
Yeah.
You know, or some of our coping skills involve maybe other people. Like if it's like venting to a friend, or I don't know, maybe working out if you have a workout buddy. You know, that's why we can't always have things that depend on other people. So, you know, we have to be able to, you know, have a whole kind of list to choose from.
You know, I agree with that. I will tell you, for me, what I always recommend whenever someone does have that moment where they need to release, I always tell them, choose people last.
Oh, yeah.
And just because there
I
may
agree.
be a time where people may not be available.
Right.
And you don't want that to become...
And you don't want to be dependent.
Big thing.
Yeah. And you don't want to become dependent on other people for your own emotional regulation.
I 100% agree with that.
Even like, you know, sometimes you're not able to listen to music. You know, you might be at work or something like that, or in a meeting, or, you know, or walk outside, or even if, you know, your dog or playing with a pet is one of your coping skills, you may not be able to do those things in the moment. So you need to have a pretty big range of coping skills.
But I will say, I will say this, because I do think, like, having been someone who once worked in a corporate office environment, when I did have those moments of coping, which I had many of them, I remember going, I'm going to go to the bathroom. And then I would just go to the bathroom and then flush the toilet a lot. Or, you know, just
I'm
get
not
it
gonna
myself.
ask why.
Because it's just like, you just move it and it just gets, and you feel better.
That's a new one.
Don't break it.
That's a new one.
Well, I mean, because
Can we call that like power flushing? Like, what are we gonna call it?
And just power flush the anger away. I'm gonna trademark that tonight.
Oh my god.
But I think that, like, you should always, I do believe, like, when you feel that you're in that moment, it's best not to engage it in a way that will make it explode, but actually find a way to step out from it.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
No matter where you're at. I mean, you could be at church, but you know what? Get up and just step out for a minute.
Excuse yourself. Yeah,
throw
go to
some
the bathroom
rocks.
and even walk outside.
Yeah.
You know? So.
I love all of that. I love it.
That's
so self-care.
So we need both. So.
I think self-care is so important.
Well, self-care is the foundation, but both are
critical,
equally as important.
Totally.
Right? Because they serve totally different purposes. So you need both. Self-care and coping skills both equal self-love. So love yourself.
That's so cute.
All right. Bye.